Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to show you and tell you which books I read in July and how I like them. And it was many books. I count them. I think if you count the Priory of the Orange Tree as 2 books, like I read 2 books, it was 11 books, I think, or 12, I think 11. If you count this as 1 book, I read 10, still enough. Okay, but because there are so many books, let's start talking about these books. Okay, the first book that I finished in July is Emma from Jane Austen. I started this in June, but I was not able to finish this book in June, so I finished this in this month and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really like the story of Emma. The book was written in 1870, I think, and for this time I think the book is very modern, and this is something I really like in Jane Austen's books. I like Emma as a character. In the beginning I think she was sometimes a little bit annoying, but she was such a lovely young girl who made a decision to not marry and leave her father alone, who was already old and sick, but she has the thought that she was a really good matchmaker and tried to match couples around her, and in the end it was a big chaos. And I really enjoyed the story of her, and at the end I was really happy, and I'm so excited to read more from Jane Austen. So this was the first book, 4 out of 5 stars. And the next book that I read was one buddy read I did from Mel Reed's Patreon, and we had 2 books in it. And the first book that I started was Normal People, and I gave it 1 out of 5 stars, and I still think that 1 star is still too much for this book. I hate this book. There's one thing I need to say in the beginning. I did not go into this book with a bad mind. I really thought that in the end I'm going to like this book. I was not thinking that I give this book 5 of 5 stars, but I thought really this is going to be a 3-star reading, and it started on the first page, and because on the first page you will notice that there is no when they speak to each other, I don't know how it's called in English, but this in the beginning before they read, I don't know how this is called, but there's none of it. So it was really hard for me. I read this book in English, which is not my native language, so it was really hard for me to make a difference when they are talking to each other, when there's an inner monologue. I don't see the difference. So this was at first really hard. And the second one is that Cornell and Marianne, if you don't know the story, they are both at the same school, and Marianne is this rich girl, but she is not the popular girl, and there's Cornell, which is the poor guy, and he's a very popular boy. And they two, I don't know what this is, what they have. If this is a relationship, it was the baddest relationship I ever read in my entire life. And if I know one person in my real life that go to a same relationship like they both do, I will slap them across the face and say, get your shit together. I think the main problem of the both in the book was that they don't communicate with each other, and this drives me crazy in this book. So Cornell was the biggest asshole of the all time. I think the first notes I took in this book was, you're an asshole, you're an asshole, you're an asshole. and all the orange tabs that are in this book are scenes that make me angry, and this is a spoiler, so skip to the next book. Here are the few things that I think this book is on 1-star rating for me. At first, Conan says that Marianne is ugly because she didn't shave her body parts, she did not wear makeup, she did not wear the modern clothes, so that's why she's ugly, and this is the whole reason, and this makes a person ugly. I'm not shaving, so I'm ugly too, maybe. Then yeah, one thing that makes her unpopular is the reason that she get on herself a chocolate ice cream on her school on the farm, and then she went to the girls' bathroom and washed the stain from the chocolate ice cream out, and that's why she's unpopular, not popular in the school. Like, okay, this was a shitty school too. And then there was one scene, and yeah, then there was one scene where Marianne wants to watch Conan having sex with somebody else, and she don't want to have sex with him, but she want to watch him to have sex with other men or something like that. Then when they meet up together, he makes sure that no one see her getting into his house. And when there was a moment when she tells him that her father was abusive to her, physical and mentally, and he thinks that she lied to make herself better, that he liked her more. So he talked about that maybe she lied about it. And it goes on and on and on. And then in the end, there was one scene where Cornell says about Marianne that Marianne was such a good person to him that he thought about to hit her, and then she wouldn't say anything. At the end of the year, I put this book in my oven. So this was the reasons why I gave it 1 star, because everything was shitty. And the end was so fucking bad. If the end was a little bit better, I would have maybe give this book 1.5 star, and then 1. But it was really bad. So the next book I read was Yolk. I read this together with Laura from the Citadel, and we did a buddy read together. And what can I say about this? I give it 3 out of 5 stars. I think it's a cute story, but it was not the best book for me. I had some issues with this book. First of all, in Yolk, it's about June, who is 3 years older than Jane, and June gets ovarian cancer, and Jane and June are not the best sisters to each other. And when Jane discovers this, that June has cancer, and they two try to figure out the problems. Was this a good description of the book? I think I have some issues with it. First of all, one problem I had with this book was the same like in normal people, is that they don't communicate with each other. They communicate, but not in a good way. And this is the problem I had with this, because you have, I think, how long is this book? Almost 400 pages, and you only read 400 pages of Jane hating everything. When I mean everything, I mean everything. She hates herself, she hates her sister, mother, everyone. She hates everyone, but she don't talk to this persons about the issues that she have with them. And there are important issues that she had with this persons that she hate. I get that, but it was so frustrating to read this book, where you only read the whole time that she hates herself, she hates everybody, and then she did nothing. Yeah, I think I can explain it more, but for now I think this is the best reason I can give you why I give it 3 stars. Maybe if the ending was a little bit better, I would give this more stars, because when the end was there, I was like, okay, that's the end. Okay, I get that. The next book I read was Ace of Spades, and I give this book full 5 out of 5 stars. This was, I think, the best book I've read so far in this month. This is about 2 black persons that go to the same school, and in the school are only white people, and then there is something happening there. There is a person who takes the whole school their deepest and darkest secrets that they both had, and they try to figure out who this person is. It gives me like a kind of Pretty Little Liars vibes. It is described as Gossip Girl, but I think it gets, for me, more like this Pretty Little Liars vibe. I didn't expect this book go this dark in this thrillery mystery vibe. Let's say I don't read thrillers or mystery books because I'm pretty easy to scared. So my anxiety was this high while reading this book, and it did take such a dark turn that my heart was broken into 1,000 pieces when I read this book. So if you don't know what to read next, go and read Ace of Spades. It was the best book I've read so far. Maybe this year. Okay, the next book after Ace of Spades that I read was the first half of the Priory of the Orange Tree. And I say this 1,000 times, but I needed to say this again. It is split into 2 in Germany, so this is the other half, and this is the first half, and I finished this after Ace of Spades. The first half ends after part 2, so part 3, 4, 5, 6 are in the second book, and the first book is only part 1 and 2. And I give this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I really like the story in the beginning. It was a really heavy world building at in the beginning, and after part 1, who was the main book, I think it was the first 350 pages, it gets really interesting, because in this point you get to the main story of the book, and my favorite characters are Ed, and at the end it was Tani. I didn't expect that, but I like these both characters. I like the whole story by herself with the dragon and stuff like that, but I understand why people might don't like this. It was really heavy world building, and maybe it would be a little bit better if Samantha Shannon made more books, not only made this as one book, but maybe do this in more books so she can stretch a little bit the informations that it was in the beginning. So it was really heavy in the beginning. That's what I need to say. So let's get right into the second book. It's the stunning blue cover, and I give the second half also 4 stars, so this book has sold 4 stars for me. And the second book, it was really good. I love the character development that all the people have in the books. I love every single... Why the fuck my neighbor looking at me? Get away, you old man. Yeah, there you go. So, the second half of the book was, I think, mainly the best part of the book, and I really liked every single character, the character development of every person was so good. Expect one character development was not good, but he was still in the beginning also not a good person, so we ignored that. And I love in this book, I cried in this book, I enjoyed every single page of this book. It didn't make me do this 5-star, because for 5 stars I didn't enjoy this as much as I should for 5 stars, but I can recommend this book to you if you want to read a really high fantasy book and you enjoy world building. I'm a person who enjoys world building, so this book was not that bad for me, but still for me this world building was too heavy. So if you don't like world building, don't read this. You will not enjoy this book. But if you like this, enjoy your time. But it will take you a month to finish this, maybe, or you're a beast and push this book through all the time. So the next book I read, why did I read so long? I'm a 22-year-old woman, and I'm sitting proudly here and say to you that I read the first 3 books of the Ice Planet Barbarians series. I'm a child, okay. I read the first 3 books of the Ice Planet Barbarians series. The first one is called Ice Planet Barbarians. The second one is called Barbarian Alien, and the third book is called Barbarian Lover. And what I need to say is that I actually enjoy these books. The first one I gave 3 out of 5 stars. It was okay. It was not. Normally I'm not always the fan of the first book, so 3 stars is still good, I think, but it was not my type. The story, the couple was not my favorite couple of all. In the first book you start with Georgie and Georgie and Vector was his name, and Vector is the chief of this clan, what they are, these Ice Planet Barbarians, and Georgie is the chief of her human clan. Can you say it like that? I don't know, but yeah, they get together really quickly. As the first book was really fast paced. I think the first book only has 180 pages, so the story gets real quick. So yeah, they were a cute couple, I think. But the second book was about Liz, who is the best friend of Georgie, I think, and the best friend of Vector. And this one is called Rahush, I think. I don't know how to pronounce the names, but I think that this guy name was Rahush. And I get so attached to these 2 people, to this one human and this one alien. I think there was a cute couple in the beginning. They have a little bit of a rough time together, but after they get over this rough time, they were a really powerful couple. And Liz is a badass, and I think for her mate she will do anything. So I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. And then the last book, Barbarian Lover, I also really enjoyed. I think their story I like the most so far, and this is in the third book it's about Kira and Aleko, I think, and I can't pronounce the name, so ignore that. And Aleko, and their story was actually the best, I think, because it has this kind of mate style. So when they get together, they are something in their vibrates, and then they know, oh, this is my mate. And between Kira and Aleko, this don't happen, but they choose each other, and their story was really cute. You notice in the beginning that they actually really loved each other, and yeah, I like the story, and I like the Planet Barbarians, and I think I'm going to read the next 19 books. The next book I read was the last book of the Christian Grey series, the perspective of Christian Grey from the 50 Shades of Grey series. Yes, this is such a long title. Read from E.L. James, and I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. At some parts it was a little bit boring, because if you read the original series, the 50 Shades of Grey series, you already know what's happened in the book. So there was a few parts that were a little bit boring, but in the end, I again liked his perspective. I think he is such an interesting character, and I like to read this book. I love every single page. Good reading. If you didn't read this book so far, go read this. It's not that bad. Like the Planet Barbarians, they're also not that bad. The last book that I read was They Both Die at the End, and I give this book also 5 out of 5 stars. It was a little bit of a tragic story, I think. Would I read this again? I probably think no. I wouldn't reread this again. If I came back, I would not buy this book, because it gives me pretty high anxiety to read this, because this book is about Matteo and Rufus, and they both get a call that they die in the next 24 hours. And then you read the story in the next 24 hours, how they trying to spend the last 24 hours in their life the best as they can, and don't be afraid of the dead. And yeah, this gives me really bad anxiety reading this, but I can't put this down. I needed to finish this, so I give this 5 out of 5 stars. This was all the books that I've read in July. 11 in total. If you count the one book only as one book, it was 10. But I liked every single book that I read so far in this month, in the last month. When you're watching this video, it's maybe the last month, except Normal People. I hate this book. I burned this book at the end. Maybe it stays me warm in the winter. That's my plan for this book. I'm burning this down. And don't give this away, because then probably a different person reads this, and I don't want this, that a different person reads this shit. But okay, this was all the books that I read so far in July. Not so far, only in July, because tomorrow is the last day of July, and I don't think I will finish any book in the next 24 hours, because I need to sleep, eat, and I go to a party tomorrow. Social life. Woo, woo. Yeah, then I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you will, you can follow me. My social media is linked down in the description, with my Instagram, Goodreads, whatever you need to find down in the description. And then I will see you in the next video on the next Sunday. Bye!